slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Okay, so I wanted to give Secret World Legends a second go. This is mainly due to my lack of knowledge when it came to getting the game to actually run properly. So I began with a fresh install. Afterwards, I made sure that I opened the options within the launcher and installed the full client, then ran a repair broken data scan. Finally, I elected to run the game in DirectX 9 rather than 11. Now let's see if I can get this game to run. Game launches, so far so good. Since I couldn't remember what I had achieved in my first attempt, which I can guarantee wasn't a lot, I decided to make a new character and go at this from the beginning. Of the 3 factions, I still wanted to go full weeb and play as a dragon, but since I put so much effort into giving this game another try, I wanted to recreate myself as my avatar. As close as we are going to get, and now for the final touches, a class. Mages. If I'm going to dive into a secret Lovecraftian world, I want my character to dabble in the arcane, elemental magic paired with chaos to represent my connection to the dragon. Perfect. Game launched, character made, now it's time for the immersion. Okay, Secret World, I am ready to become invested, and the intro doesn't disappoint. I am immediately thrown into a shadowy realm where some business lady is helping me understand movement controls, the basics of combat, and how to navigate quest markers and my chosen weapons minigame. The only thing that I'm not satisfied with at this point is the interface. It feels a little too bulky. Almost every inch of the border of my screen has one icon or another. This is a minor complaint and I'll adjust, but also I'd like to be able to zoom closer or further away from my character to find that questing sweet spot, but the mouse wheel only seems to select my character. Weird. Okay, so the tutorial is a bit weird and the story thus far is a lot to speculate, but I don't have any concrete information as to what I'm actually doing in this nightmare simulation. But I have to admit that the voice acting is superb. How both a male and female voice whisper in my character's mind simultaneously with only a slight variation as to what they are saying? Pretty cool.
Make the right choices.
So I zap a few zombies and take on some raven creature to learn the basics of dodging, then it's down the rabbit hole to learn about puzzles, down again and I learn that traps are a thing, avoid a big robot and put the last 4 of his social security number into a wall panel and it's off to Main Street Metropolis after Superman snapped Zod's neck. Okay, so a few locals are chatting it up and then surprise, Cthulhu! The quest log says let the mad god smash, so I do and enjoy a very anticlimactic scripted death. I wake up in my apartment and play with my glowy bits until there's a knock at the door. 13 dwarves and a wizard are in need of a burglar. No, wait. Some ninja with stitched lips invites himself into my living room and zap, it's lights out. Suddenly, I'm getting tossed out of a white van and told to follow the butterflies. So I oblige because I remember the game crashing in this area. So it's off to Kumiho Hotel, where we have a sit down with an occult guru and again, the voice acting is top notch. I have no idea what he's going on about, but I can appreciate his passion. I think he's trying to inform me that the dragon are agents of chaos and that I'm about to join their team.
They're creating a model of the universe, one tsunami at a time. But this is a controlled experiment. So the dragon ensures that with every tiny random change, they remain in complete control.
Anyway, I'm told that everyone eventually goes upstairs, so I guess I'm next in line. I head upstairs, spot the butterflies, and oh my god, sir! Shinobi Diaper Demon Hand pops out the darkness like a damn magic show, and I'm starting to think this was a bad idea. Suddenly, he's nudged aside by Red Dress Lady, who pulls me into the room and sets me on the bed. She returns to Tattooed Shogun Pampers and whispers something to him that makes me think I'm about to lose a kidney. Nope. Red Dress Lady mounts me and starts talking about chakras and shit. And if I've learned anything in my life, it's that when a woman starts talking about the fourth mind and chakras, she's usually going to let you touch hers. Red Dress Lady hits me with a chin wag so powerful that I wake up as another person.
Giggity.
I wake up as Sarah and learn about chaos magic, and then everything goes to pot, and it's a Left 4 Dead shit fight in a subway. The 3 other agents are all acting like they know what they're doing, so I play along. Alongside my Lovecraftian dream team, we hack our way through the tunnels and take on a Guardian of Dreams. Many of the enemies have the telltale avoid the floor pattern mechanic, which is fine, and we send the Guardian back to Neverland. Shortly after, I'm separated from the team and continue on alone until I come to a platform and revert back to Sarah's body and then pass out. Okay, currently I have no idea what is happening as far as the narrative is concerned, but the cutscenes are good and the gameplay has been smooth so far. Combat is easy to understand and resembles ESO with the targeted abilities and camera movement, and to be honest, I'm enjoying the game. I wake up back in the hotel with Demon Diapers eyeing me like a 2-piece and fries, while Red Dress Lady gazes out the window with a look of shame. Demon Pampers jiggles his bulge at me and nods it's time to leave. The quest tracker tells me, find those who are waiting for you. So, I head back downstairs and try to glean some information from my old pal the occult guru. He gives me a brief rundown of some of the organizations, but isn't much help with the bigger picture.
I remember the first time I came across those letters. I was fascinated and terrified, but I knew I wouldn't be able to let the opportunity pass. To learn about the existence of the secret world, a secret history of the world.
Right outside the hotel is another stitch-lip ninja who points me in the direction of the dragon Dojang. Here, I learn about upgrading gear, and then it's off to have a chat with the dragon. Another cutscene that leaves me with more questions than answers. Bong Cha, the voice of the dragon, welcomes me to Team Green and then talks about free will and reality disruption, and how we all have our part to play as agents of chaos. The Templars, the Illuminati, and something about Solomon Island, and that it's better if I just trust them to know where I belong. My job is to disrupt and add discord. Then the kid waves his hand and we're told to get out.
The Templars and the Illuminati are racing to unlock the secrets of Solomon Island. We could wait and let them tear each other apart, but there are designs, models, awaiting new data, fresh agitators, acts of gentle terror. It's time to leave.
Without any suggestions via story, the quest tracker tells me to find the entrance to Agartha. I do, and it's a portal surrounded by roots, while twin lion statues flank the entrance. This is just a great graphic design. It looks like how a magic portal to a secret world should look. I step through and get to meet Mr. Conductor from Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and apparently we are on Nordrasil, and I can now be whisked across the world in the blink of an eye. Rhino from Warframe's dad gives me a teleporter to bring me back here at any time. Mr. Conductor assures me that it's all safe and directs me towards the main hub of Agartha. And now for the jump pads. Fantastic design. I mean, the alternative would be walking across lengthy branches to get from A to B. But no, someone said magic jump pads. That's how they will get from A to B in Agartha. And I gotta say, thank you. Thank you, jump pad designer. I take the teleporter to Kingsmith, where I meet the last cowboy. And apparently, Kingsmith and Santa Monica have something in common. An undead problem. The last cowboy, Texas Jack, needs some help culling the zombie horde. And I need a direction, so I agree to help him out.
This forest crawls. Gets my fingers itching for 2 matters. One, the other, figuring out a way to keep them down. It ain't right the way the dead walk the earth. They deserve their 6 feet, same as everyone else. I've sworn to keeping guard here, and you've got places to be, but nothing's stopping you from culling the herd as you go. Hell, figure out what makes them tick and how to make that ticking stop, and I'll buy you a beer at the apocalypse. So go on, kid. Saddle up. The end of the world waits for no man.
Questing in Secret World is tiered based on objective, and for the most part, you never have to run back to the quest giver. Just send a tweet with hashtag quest done, and it's off to the next NPC. Step 1, kill 8 zombies around Jack's camp. The Walking Dead are no match for the power of lightning in anime, so I zapped them in record time. As the quest progressed from kill 8 zombies to lead them into fire, to use car alarms to lure them out, I felt like I was learning about my enemy, not just mindlessly killing 8 of them and calling it kosher. It's a nice way to add not only some length to a kill or fetch quest, but also some depth. This is represented in the text messages you receive upon completing quests, which I enjoyed. Nothing is worse in an MMO than when you clear out some enemies and it doesn't seem to make a difference to anyone. Good quest structure, Secret World. From here, I discovered the survivor base camp of Kingsmith and meet Helen Bannerman. She's a sweet country gal and gives me the short version of what's going on in Kingsmith.
I'm Sheriff Bannerman, and this down-home little state of emergency is what's left of my jurisdiction. Sure, we tried to hold as much of the town as we could at first. More out of nostalgia than any civil defense plan. I won't tell you Kingsmith was a slice of heaven in a snow globe, but it was ours. Now it ain't. There was always something running under in this town. Maybe what's spilled out now. If that's how it works, I couldn't say hand on heart we didn't have it coming. But that fog, and the things in it, they didn't pick and choose when they came in. Most folks didn't stand a chance.
But hidden in her sweet southern accent is a clue. The zombies came rolling out of the fog. I get a welcome to Ravenloft feeling and ask Helen if there's anything I can do to help. The sheriff wants some surveillance equipment recovered and set up around the base camp. Smart plan, Mrs. Bannerman. I find a local phone book and check for secured businesses. And this is another great aspect of Secret World, the props. I love the Gothic references in just this one prop. Arkham and Belmont Avenue, Lovecraft Lane. I mean, it's on the nose, but I dig it. Now, as far as the questing mechanic goes, it's little more than check your Google map and head to the indicated color blob and look for something to interact with. It was here I discovered some verticality as I was forced to climb some trash behind the gas station to collect the first surveillance camera. On my way to the next objective, I spot a ladder and I have to know, can I climb? The answer is yes. Yes, I can. I gathered the remaining 2 cameras, but on the last one, there's a note attached explaining that the camera on the museum is broken and needs replaced, and that more can be found in the basement. So, it's off to the basement. Once inside the basement, I'm told to have a chat with the janitor, but he doesn't look like he's in a chatting mood, and unlike the rest of Kingsmith's undead, he looks and acts differently. He runs off, and I have to navigate some traps and turn off security measures to corner him so that we can have a little chat. This is my first encounter with a stealth mission in Secret World. Now don't get me wrong, I'm glad they exist, but the game doesn't have a stealth mechanic. It's simply avoid the cameras and turn off the power to the traps. Now it's not difficult, but I hate it when a game with no stealth ability or spy mode wants you to all of a sudden play Assassin's Creed using WASD movement and a generic stay out of sight suggestion. Again, it wasn't difficult, but that does raise the question, your game is all about discovering hidden Lovecraftian monsters and a secret world. Why isn't there a detective mode or stealth system in play? I mean, just imagine how much better the game would be if there was. So I disable the traps and avoid detection, which grants me the Silent Witness achievement for not being spotted, which as far as I can tell adds up to about the equivalent of a Cracker Jack award. When I finally corner the janitor, he isn't down with my gift for Gab and I'm forced to send him to Jesus. So much for my questions. I grab the final camera and now I'm off to place them around the survivor base camp. It's a simple task but comes with a nice touch. Once I have completed setting up the cameras, they stay in place. Back at Sheriff Bannerman's office, I can use her computer to view the outside via the cameras that I just installed. This is great. I love it when what you do in an MMO matters. Now, this isn't world changing, but it does lend to my hero making a difference in the lives of the locals. It's persistent, and I can appreciate that in any MMO. Let's talk about the map for just a second. The local map of Kingsmith has the appearance of what I would find in a local gift shop. I can zoom and drag the map around, so points for that. It corresponds well with the minimap radar and is easy to use and follow. The art style is clean and easy to read. Nothing pisses me off quicker in an MMO than a shit map. But this serves its purpose and it's easy to use. With the surveillance all set up, I head to the roof to talk with Deputy Andy. And Officer Andy gives off some weird vibes. You know, like in a horror movie where the young officer gives you the creeps. Anyway, Andy needs some help keeping the area safe and mentions the fog being the start of Kingsmith's little horror show. During his nostalgia of his hometown, he let slip that there were human sacrifices. Wait, Andy, you can't just mention some cult shit then glaze past it. But he manages to subvert the human sacrifice and gives me a glimpse into his soul with this little food for thought.
Jeez, you never saw anything like this in the cop shows. Well, maybe on cable, not the network ones. You wouldn't know it from looking out there, but before that wicked bad fog rolled in, Kingsmith was a sleepy little burg. Nothing stronger on the streets than a hot cup of coffee and chocolate glazed donuts from Susie's. The occasional DUI or domestic disturbance. Human sacrifice. But every town has a dark side, right? We sure are getting a heaped help in the darkness now, eh? The Walking Dead and worse besides taking over our town. Us survivors hold up in here hoping it's all just a bad dream and we'll wake up to the smell of bacon and maple syrup. But unless someone ups and does something, and soon, all we're gonna wake up to is the smell of rotten flesh. And I don't need another thing to remind me of my dad. Halloween does bring back the memories, eh?
Okay, Andy, how are you creepier than the undead hordes surrounding us? Andy leaves the conversation at that, Maker be praised, and I play stronghold defense against waves of undead. I'm not a big fan of this mechanic in MMOs because it usually feels generic, like a filler quest. Nothing other than the smell of the living has been attracting zombies to the base since I arrived, and as far as I can tell, nothing has changed to incite a horde. But it is what it is. I send Chakrispies back to the underworld Zeus style. Wait, the quest doesn't end with the death of the last wave. Something is sending them to attack. Maybe this is different. I cut my way down the street and come face to face with a Drog warmonger, who is raising the dead and sending them to assault the base. This is no mere random attack. Are the undead testing the settlement's defenses? Although the mechanic of defeat X amount of zombie waves and track the dead to their source is basic, I can appreciate the effort with the additional steps. Instead of the usual wave whatever has been defeated, now everybody back to normal. I defeat the Drog and send the dragon a text about my accomplishments here in Kingsmith. Now, the turn-in via text I believe is where the overarching big picture is. The dragon responds with a message about the lore of the Drog, an ancient Nordic variety of undead. These particular Drog seem to have dominion of the local zombies, and some old files indicate that there was once Nordic descent within Kingsmith. The dragon says that they'll look into it and are interested in discovering how the Drog have the capacity to direct attacks. This is flavor to a bland steak. I like it when there is effort in a story's narrative and lore, especially when that lore is actually real myths and legends of the modern day. This is a good way to keep a player such as myself engaged. With the settlement safe for the moment, I head out to check on Norma Creed, a local woman with an iron spine. But before I arrive, I spot a skull on the mini-map and go to investigate. Glowing green wisps are patrolling the area, and as I get close, I'm given a local area quest to clear them out by killing 5 of them. I kill them easily and take on the skull indicated by the minimap. It's a stronger wisp and appears to be an area boss that you can defeat for a one-time XP award and random loot drop. Nice. These bosses dot the map and can be pursued or ignored at your leisure, it seems. I like this as a mechanic. It gives me a reason to explore apart from the visual storytelling, which Secret World does a fair job at. Again, this is a positive feature. With the wisp down, I head over to chat with Norma. Now I gotta say, Secret World has a wealth of good characters in this starting zone. From the easygoing Texas Jack who holds a vigil just outside of town, to the lovable Southern hospitality Sheriff Bannerman who is eager for help and friendly to boot. Deputy Andy and his awkward and creepy vibes about his personal life, but is doing his due diligence to keep the horde at bay. And Norma, my G-Maw in a nutshell. She isn't having any zombie on her fresh-cut lawn, and her shotgun says they'll keep off the grass or feel Nana's wrath. I love the NPCs in this game. Easy to relate to, albeit a little weird at times, but they are well acted and fit the narrative well.
Oh yeah, you'd think these wet bits would just fizzle on the bonfire, but no, they sparkle like kindling wood. That's heartening. Ah, geez, what a mess. Good thing I'm not particular. Now I'm used to getting my hands dirty. Fish guts, childbirth, sutures, the dead. Yeah, maybe I was born for this work. Ah, that don't sound right. Nobody's made for this ungodly work. Except maybe this old thing. So I kill and I chop and I burn, but there's more of them every day, and I feel like I'm pushing a very big stone up a very steep mountain. And it keeps rolling back down. What do you call that? Sisyphean? Or is that when you get a burning in your privates? My idea of culture is reruns of Cheers and, not ancient Greek mythology. Well, the old gal ain't a proper match for everything that turns up on my doorstep. Seems she's too much for most of it. Spreads a bone of dead man's guts all over the place. There's no time to gather it all up before we're right back up in the thick of it. And they never stop coming. They never stop coming.
Let's talk about leveling and progression for just a moment. In Secret World, you gain ability points and skill points as you reach certain milestones in your XP bar. You also receive them for leveling and doing quests. You level normally like most MMORPGs and gain passive stats and HP upon leveling from, let's say, 5 to 6, but both your skill points and ability points are yours to spend on different weapon trees. These are tiered talent trees that offer combat abilities for your chosen primary and secondary weapon, and skill points are used to increase your passive abilities or add a perk to a certain ability. As you progress along the tree, the point cost does increase. It's a subtle power creep to your hero, but I never felt I couldn't handle any given task. It is worth mentioning that you are not trapped in using any weapon. Your class per se is more of what you wield than the classic class system of fighter, mage, or rogue. This gives you diversity in selecting a combat style. Now, I wanted to be a mage, so I stuck with elemental magic and chaos magic, but I could switch to wielding a shotgun if I so desired, and it's nice to have options. Okay, so I chat with G-Maw Creed, and she is overwhelmed with the endless waves of zombies she is forced to put down to defend her home. So I offer to help, and it's another defeat X amount of waves quest. This one is a little more generic, but I like Nana's can-do attitude, so it's okay. I protect her fence, which is weird. The undead that are attacking the property are more interested in attacking her fence than me. Oh well, easy XP I suppose. I collect their parts, gross, and head back to Nana to stoke her bonfire. The quest tracker updates and wants me to kill a variety of different undead to put on G-Maw's barbecue. I'm curious to see where this is going and take them out. Dry zombies, wet zombies, fast zombies, and finally cultist zombies. Wait. Dry, wet, fast, and cultist. Someone in this group doesn't belong. Along the way, I discover another area boss, Father Appleby, and drop him with Chaos Falcon Punch. Then, it's back to collecting body parts. The zombies die easy enough, I collect their gooey bits, and it's back to Nana where I toss the different parts into the fire. Now this did feel like a generic filler quest, until I threw the cultist parts into the fire and Gmaw's bonfire ignited with blue flame. Now I recall seeing some blue fires as I was out playing Zombie Repo Man, so I head over to check them out. After a quick examination of the blue flames, the quest tracker wants more undead cultist chunks, so it's back to slaying. 8 cultist parts is easy enough to come by when you have the powers of Zeus. With them dead, I head down to the beach and throw the cultist corpses on their own blue campfires for science. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm doing this other than to sate the curiosity of the dragon. But I think that's what the dragon is all about, and I took the BJ from Red Dress Lady and put my name on the dotted line, so it's blue light camping for me. After lighting the blue fires upon the beach, the cultist leader is summoned, but he is no match for Chaos Falcon Punch and is sent back to the Shadow Realm. I send my report on the cultist undead to the dragon, and they explain the nature of the cult undead. These undead are responsible for summoning the Drog, and although slow in form, are to be dealt with bearing caution in mind, for their dark sorcery is stronger in death than it ever was in life. I really enjoy the flavor text via messages. I'm certain at this point that these messages to my handler is how the main plot is followed, or at least an insight into the bigger picture, albeit I'm still a bit unclear as my role in all of this other than a randomness amongst the supernatural. From here, I bid Gmaw farewell and get another clue as to how this zombie infestation all began. The Lady Margaret, a ship in the harbor that now rests covered in a red lichen. It's time to investigate. But along the way, I come across a mutilated corpse and decide to investigate that. I track the bloodstains Witcher style to the source. A Wendigo leaps from the nearby rocks and attacks. But armed with a Thor button, I'm able to wound the beast and send it fleeing deeper into the forest. I pick up the trail and hunt the hunter to its lair, where I put an end to its blood sport. Now this is a very simplistic quest, but I picked it up from a corpse along the roadside, not an NPC. I enjoy quests like this because they feel more natural than always running to the next NPC to continue your story. It gives me as the player the option to choose my own involvement. Again, this is a positive feature. It is worth mentioning that not every quest turn-in offers information concerning your deed. Upon sending the information to my handler, I received a more generic reply that my field report has been received and is currently being analyzed and evaluated. This is a double-edged sword because, on one hand, maybe the dragon has very little information to give on the state of Wendigos, and maybe I'll learn more about them as time goes on. Or, this is just a default and lazy design to blanket what the developers considered not relevant to the main plot. It's a little early for me to tell, so we'll move on. With the Wendigo dead, I make my way towards the Lady Margaret, but along the way I notice another skull on the minimap located in a diner. You remember Deputy Andy mentioning Susie's diner? Well, I found it, and Susie has joined the ranks of the Walkers, and I am forced to send her to the Abyss. I must admit, I like that not all of the population's notables are NPC quest givers, and that many of them are undead and now act as area boss encounters. It's a nice touch and adds realism to the narrative Secret World is selling. After I burn Susie's muffins, I continue onward to the Lady Margaret. Once upon the deck, I am attacked by the ship's former captain. By the power of Thor and Chaos Falcon Punch, I send the captain to Davy Jones' locker with ease, and inspect a scrap of the captain's log. The prop is fantastic. It is written on grid paper that is stained and written in what looks like a faded ballpoint pen that has smeared due to water damage. Clues to the main plot aside, these props are a great addition for immersing a player. So I stow the captain's log, and it's back to Sheriff Bannerman's office to have a chat with Dr. Bannerman to discuss what I found and maybe get some more clues as to what's going on here. Dr. Bannerman is vague, but does offer a lead. He kept detailed reports on the patients of the Lady Margaret in his office, so I'm headed to the clinic to learn more about the nature of Kingsmith's affliction.
In my office, there are detailed transcripts of our sessions. I'm afraid it all happened so fast that day there was no time to pack. I hope they may shed some light on what happened out there.
The clinic is empty, and I get to examine more amazing props. Finally, I have to hack the good doctor's computer, and the clue to the password lies within the other props in his office. This is depth in an MMO. I didn't just have to right-click on the shiny bits and everything be finished for me. I had to examine the props and then type the password on his computer. These tiny extra steps in making a quest more believable make all the difference in an MMO's immersion. So, I hack the computer and learn about the patients of the Lady Margaret incident. Listed are 3 of the doc's patients and their local address, along with the symptoms they were experiencing after returning to Kingsmith. They all seem to suffer from severe headaches and a keen sense of paranoia. Although the stages of these symptoms are not developing at the same rate, all the passengers seem to be afflicted. While reading this message, Slothnik Nice subscribed to the channel and damn near jump scared me out of my fucking chair. Sloth? Thank you for being here. Now back to the story. After reading the reports and having the patients' addresses, I decide to make a house call to see how they're doing. But I'm not optimistic. First up is Derek Creed, and as we all suspected, has joined the zombie choir. Derek isn't in a talking mood, and I can't stop hitting things with lightning, so I feel it's a win-win encounter. I send Derek to Jesus and begin my search for Lawrence. I don't have to go far, because Lawrence just so happens to be the corpse that Derek was nomming on. It's a shame, really. Look at that man stash on Lawrence's ID. Anyway, from here I make my way to Joe Slater's residence. And it's not looking good. A trail of stank is oozing from his porch and leads to a nearby sewer grate. But before I can investigate, I'm hit with a message that says I need to level up before I can continue, and offers a prop to indicate where some local quests are to get me started. It was here that I stopped recording for the day. I had what I was looking for, a new player perspective, and offering this game a chance to redeem itself in my eyes. So, Secret World Legends as a game is fantastic. Character creation is good, the narrative is great, the voice acting is top-notch, the game designs, the props, the extra steps to turn a fetch quest into more than just click on the shiny thing and call it good are all great. The map is acceptable, the aesthetic is immersive, and the game is chock full of both visual and compelling storytelling. So why didn't I fall in love with this game the first time? Because Secret World Legends is a pain in the ass to get working without lag or massive frame drops. The steps required to simply play the game will scare potential players off. No one wants to install a game, make an account with a third-party company to run the launcher, then, while within the launcher, run a full client install from the Patcher Options menu, followed by a Repair Broken Data scan, and run the game with DirectX 9, or attempt to run the game in Windows 7 compatibility mode. It's just a headache that most players will avoid or not even attempt before making a judgment call, myself included, that this game is hot trash. What sucks is this isn't an issue with the gameplay itself, it's an issue with making the game work as intended. My follow-up to this video will be what I did to get this game to work, because Secret World Legends is a good MMORPG, and although I think my initial assessment of getting the game to run in my RPG Spotlight video was accurate, the game itself is fun, and for the price of free, it's worth a shot to see if it's for you. Well, my friends, that is going to be it for me for Secret World Legends. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like to send your report to the algorithm dragon, and consider subscribing to keep Deputy Andy happy. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Goodbye.